Hi, here I am, I'm back. I missed the phone call because by mistake I hit decline, and I'm hoping I can splice these two videos together. If I can't, I'll probably just put them up separately and you can watch part 1 and part 2 of Undead Yarn podcast number 70. Anyway, I was looking for the Laura Smoot Designs bag that I did not find, but when I do find it, I will show it again on the podcast. But I would like to show her lovely new pattern. It's called Morpheus, and it's a cowl, and it looks just lovely. I think I would love to knit that. It looks like an easy knit, and I would definitely recommend going to check her out. Like I said, she has some beautiful patterns, and she is just a lovely person. So I highly recommend checking her out. That was my BC yarning stuff. And she also sent me a skein of the Targhee base, a blank skein of the Targhee base, so I can try it, dyeing it myself, which is just fabulous. Okay, now here's spoiler alert. If you are in the Hedgehog Fibers Club, I just signed up for the latest one, Turn Away, and I got 2 skeins of yarn. I didn't realize I was going to get 2 skeins, but I did, and they're just amazingly lovely. Of course, I haven't been in a club in a long time because I've found a lot of times when I'm in a club I get shipments that I don't like. But since a lot of people have been in the Hedgehog Fibers Club, I've pretty much liked every single thing they've shown. And some people are like, oh, I didn't like this shipment or I didn't like that shipment. I've loved all the ones that I've seen. So I love both of these. This one is a majority of pink, and this is called Dollhouse. I like the name for that. That's beautiful. And this is a 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon, so it's very squishy. I suspect, to me, that does not scream socks, because I think if it's got less than a certain amount of nylon, it may not wear as well. So we'll see, but I think these 2 skeins may have to be shawls, and you guys know I love me some orange. Wow, look at that. Now that is orange. Oh, it's so pretty. And it's the same base, 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon. And this one is called Odyssey. I love how it's got a little bit of pink and black and a few other colors. I really like how they have one main color in these. Look around. And then a few splashes, or a lot of splashes. Actually, this one, it has a main color of pink, but if you look at it, this one actually has more blue than the other one is mostly orange. This one has some blue, quite a bit of blue, a little bit of orange in there, and then a lot of speckles. But I do like the speckles. I'm not big on dyeing speckles, and I don't own a lot of speckled yarn, but I would like to try it, so I think I'm going to knit those up. Probably, I'm leaning towards, I've been seeing a lot of the Stephen West shawl. I love Exploration Station. Maybe I'll do that. I'm not sure. But I really like what he does with the Hedgehog Fibers and the speckly yarns in his shawls. So that may have to be what that becomes. I have some more stuff to show you. Where is this one? This, I would totally recommend y'all going and checking out Neelys Knits. She has beautiful self-striping colorways. And usually, if you follow her on Instagram, I guarantee you'll find something that you like. She usually posts a picture that shows what her inspiration is, and she does a lot of pop culture stuff. I'm sure many of you will love this pop culture reference. Believe it or not, I'm not a fan of this show. I've watched a couple and they're okay, but I've only seen a few. I'll probably watch some more eventually because it's interesting. It's just I wasn't drawn in like I am with vampires and werewolves. But this is called TARDIS in Space, and I saw this on her website. I was like, I love this, and I love the picture that goes with it. It's just beautiful. Self-striping yarn. And I think I think all, I could be wrong, maybe all, but most of hers she puts with a heels and toes coordinating skein, and this is so awesome. It's sparkly. And this is TARDIS in Space, heels and toes part. So look how great they go together. And you know what? That's so fun because the main yarn is not sparkly. So you'll just have a bit of sparkle on your heels and toes, or however you want to do it. I've seen some people start, they take these little skeins and they not only do heels and toes, but they do the cuff as well. So I think that's going to be kind of neat. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing buying all these yarns. I don't have any time to knit up. Because I have to do my shop samples. But I see them and I want them and they're so beautiful. And you guys know I don't like to do, personally I don't really like to dye more than 4 stripes, 4 color striping yarns at a time. I'm just not a fan of having to do more than that. But so when I see somebody else doing a longer series of stripes, I'm often drawn in. I'm not really into the 20 stripers, but I like the smaller amount of stripes because, like I said, I don't make really tall socks, so I don't really need something that's not going to repeat, you know, and I have a small foot. So, but when I see something like this is, I think this is a 6 striper. I could be wrong, but when I see something like this, it's just, it gets me. Oh, and there's one special thing that I was saving for last to open. This I found out about on the Shiny Bees podcast. If y'all haven't listened to her, she's a popular podcaster from the UK, and I think she just won an award for the best podcast, which is awesome. In the UK, I believe it's a UK contest that they just started last year, and last year she won the award for the best listeners. Or most involved listeners, and this year I believe she won the award for best podcast, which is really cool that a knitting podcast won, because you know a lot of those other podcasts, the ones that are put out by big names like the BBC or in the United States NPR, it's really hard for us as small little knitters to compete with the professional people who have all kinds of money to throw to their podcast. So it's really pretty cool that she won. And it was a while ago, she really enjoys, Jo of Shiny Bees really enjoys Zoolander. And I have not watched it in a long time, so I don't remember all the references, but she's apparently watched it several times because she loves it. And you know how they had Zoolander 2 come out? She was surprised nobody ever put out an orange mocha frappuccino colorway. I guess that was something that was mentioned a lot in the movie Zoolander. So, I'm sure many of y'all have heard of Countess Ablaze, and the thing that made me so interested in this, not only the colorway is gorgeous, and Countess Ablaze does amazing work. I have already not used her yarn, but I've already bought from her before. I bought some of her fiber in the Nerds Prefer their Rainbows Darker, which was a black with all these neon colors on it, and just beautiful, and that's one I look at and want to pet instead of spin. But they got together and they did a orange mocha frappuccino colorway. And while they were doing it, they recorded a podcast talking about how they were dyeing it. Now, Countess Ablaze in the past has told people that she would not do interviews. And Jo of Shiny Bees had asked her before, and she said, no, I don't feel comfortable doing interviews because I have autism. Autism awareness. So I was listening to this podcast, and I thought this would be wonderful for me to talk about on the podcast, since we are in the middle of our autism awareness knit along. She has high-functioning autism, and like a lot of people with autism, she does not enjoy being put on the spot. It's difficult to come up with what to say without coming across maybe not natural if you are uncomfortable and you have autism. So she feels really comfortable with Joe from Shiny Bees, and she said, I don't want to do a formal interview, but I will do an informal thing with you, and you can record it while we're in my dye studio. And the way that she sells is she just sells directly. You can only buy directly from her. She doesn't do wholesale and a lot of other things. She doesn't do shows, and a lot of that is because of her autism. And she feels like she's very open about her autism, and she says that in a lot of ways there are things that are great strengths for her. So she's learned to run her business in a way that helps her out and helps her strengths come out. But then she doesn't have to be put on the spot in social situations like going to a show or having to do a lot of interacting with people in order to do wholesale orders, things like that. She's running her business in a way that benefits her. And she's pretty successful. She has a shop, and I believe she calls it her dye studio. And I know she sells her yarn in there. I'm not sure if she sells other yarns. She may. But I think a lot of times when her shop is open, she's also dyeing. So people can go in and see what she's doing as well as shop for her yarns. So here's the package, and I haven't opened it yet because you guys are going to just be stunned with the colors. I think she rivals Hedgehog Fibers, honestly. Her stuff is amazing. I did not write down the number of the podcast to tell you guys, but if you go look up Shiny Bees, you can find out which podcast she did the interview with Countess Ablaze on. And if you're interested, I told her she sounds wonderful. She sounds very natural in the podcast, and I would not have known that she had autism if she had not told us. But she credits Joe of Shiny Bees with that because she said that she makes her feel comfortable, and that's why she decided to do the podcast with her. Oh my God, guys, this is even more awesome, and oh, I love it. And you know I love neons, but this is really awesome. Look at this. This is the Orange Mocha Frappuccino colorway. Look at how beautiful it is. Look at the purples. It's got purple and orange and yellow and then all these speckles of black. It's just stunning. And this is on a new base of hers, which is a base that I've never tried before. It's BFL, Firestar, BFL and Firestar. So this is a BFL with sparkle. And I've never seen a BFL with sparkle. I hope you can see the sparkle. Let's get closer. There you go. See, look at how saturated the colors are. She does an awesome job of dyeing. And she comes up with such creative colors. So this one, the first round of Orange Mocha Frappuccino sold out. They didn't know that was going to happen. I bought it through Shiny Bees. If you get on her mailing list, she should notify you when it's available. But I know the first 50, this was one of the first 50 skeins, sold out. And so I know that she was going to do another run, but I'm not sure how many times she's going to dye this color. So I would go, if you're interested, I would go and look on her blog. She also did a nice blog maybe a week or two after the podcast came out, talking about her feelings about the podcast and the way she conducts her business, and also talking about her autism and how it affects her and her business. So she has, I think it's countessablaze.com. That's probably where you can go look. Yes. If you're interested in getting this colorway, or you're more interested in learning more about her, I would go to her website. She did a really nice write-up, and I read it. It was I enjoyed reading that. So this is the Orange Mocha Frappuccino, and it's done in cooperation with Shiny Bees and Countess Ablaze. And our Autism Awareness Knit-Along will be ending at the end of the month. We have a lot of entries, and those of you who have knit one of Talia's patterns or one of Crocheting Hoovian's Laura Concert's patterns, or you've knit with my yarn, you will be all put into a drawing for a skein of mustache yarn. And then I'm also going to throw in the prizes that were not claimed from the shawl along. Those will also be prizes at the end of available at the end of the month. And then there's also a pattern, I think of $7, it may be $8 or less, that's being donated by Talia and Marlesia. So those things will be drawn probably in my next podcast. I'm not sure. I may try to podcast again before the month's over. I may not. We'll see. But I did want to mention that, and then I also wanted to mention that next month I'm going to be starting my knit, dye, spin, knit along, crochet along. Last year it was so much fun. I had a lot of people participate who don't always participate, and I would love to do that again. You have to either knit or crochet something with an indie dyed yarn, dye some yarn yourself and post it, which honestly, it doesn't take all that much time to do that. And you can use acid dyes or you can use Kool-Aid dyes, whatever you would like. So you just dye a skein of yarn and post it up. That'll be an entry for you. Or you can spin 4 ounces of yarn. And to me, it doesn't matter if you leave it as a single or if you ply it. Either way, you can enter that as a post to win. So knit something with indie dyed yarn, dye a skein of yarn yourself, or spin 4 ounces of any fiber and post it in the thread. And that's going to start at the beginning of July. And I'm planning to run that for July and August. And I think probably I will take September off of knit-alongs for the group, but we shall see. Last year I ended up extending the knit, dye, spin, so we shall see. My next thing coming up is the Houston Fiber Fest, which is this weekend. I'm going to be going in on Friday afternoon, and I will be leaving Saturday night to come home. So it'll be a short trip, but I'm planning to see a lot of friends there. Some of my friends from San Antonio are going, and I already know I have a friend from Austin who's helping out one of my friends in her booth at the Houston Fiber Festival. So if you are there, come up and say hello. I love to meet people that are listeners. It's a lot of fun. But there will be a podcaster meetup at 3 p.m. on Saturday, and I'm hoping to make that. At this point, I'm planning to make it, so come and say hello. I would love to meet you if you're going to be at Houston Fiber Festival. Before I forget, this is the big thing. I finally reached 1,000 members. Thank you so much, guys. I'm not one of these people who blew up. It's hard to get your name out there unless several of the big podcasters hook onto your podcast and announce it on theirs. There's so many of us now. It used to be a little small group, and I remember when I first started knitting and was listening to podcasts, I used to be so disappointed because I'd listen to them all and then I wouldn't have anything to listen to for a while because there weren't a lot of them. But now there's so many podcasts out there. It's hard to get your name out there because you're just a sea of many. So I thank you guys so much for listening to me and being a part of my community. I've had a lot of really nice comments in the 1,000-member thread, and y'all help me to know which things you still like me to do. I was surprised at how many people still want to hear what I'm watching and reading, because I was wondering if that's even an important part of the podcast, but you guys are still interested. But without further ado, since we did reach our 1,000 members, I pulled for the 3 prizes. And the first winner is Christy Rose. Christy, and it doesn't say, but I think she's from Mississippi. Christy, if you PM me your address, I probably have had it at some point, but if you send me your address again, I will send you the skein of mustache yarn. Do I have that with me? I think I have it here that I can show you. It's the Dark Side of the Moon colorway, and it's absolutely stunning. So I look forward to seeing what you knit up. So she is the first winner. And then the second winner, who is winning this bag, it's a very lovely, well-done bag that I won at the Hill Country Weavers Retreat, or got at the Hill Country Weavers Retreat. The winner of the bag is Bina Knits, and her name is Sabrina, and she's from New Mexico. So Bina Knits, PM me on Ravelry when you hear this, and let me know what your address is. And then the third winner won this pattern. It's not just this pattern. There's also a shawl pattern on the back. There's actually 3 patterns in this, and they're all by, I think they're all by Suzanne. No, there's the one in the front is by the lady from Hill Country Weavers who runs Hill Country Weavers, but there's also 2 other patterns in this booklet, and you are going to win this lovely Shibui Knits yarn that's got mohair and silk in it. And the winner of that is Vicky B, and Vicky is from Canada. So Vicky, let me know your address, and I will send this out to you as well. And once again, thank you guys so much for listening. Like I said, there's so many podcasts out there, and I'm really appreciative that y'all watch and listen to mine. I've always wanted to do this, and I still really enjoy it. I don't know if I'm ever going to get tired of podcasting. I know some people do, but I really like it. I think it's fun. I do have a little bit to talk about as far as what I've been watching, but not much, because I'm still watching the same things, except I added Orange is the New Black, because the new season's out. Yay! And it's still fun. It's still fun. Those people are crazy. And then I don't think I mentioned last week, I don't remember if I mentioned the last time that we were watching Betas. It's a new show on Amazon Prime, and it's one of these shows about an IT group, and it's really good, and it's funny, and the characters are really likable. I think there's 1 or 2 people on the show that are well-known names, and then the rest are not. But Amazon is getting to be like Netflix. They have some excellent series, and they get good actors on their programs. So we are really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. And we've watched both seasons. So we've seen 1 and 2, and now we have to wait for season 3. And I'm still watching season 3 of Bitten. It's sad. There's a lot of sadness in this one. And I wanted to mention I did watch a movie. It's an old movie, and I know a lot of y'all have probably seen it, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, and it was thought-provoking, too. I watched this movie called In and Out, and I'm not going to tell y'all what it's about, because I think you should go watch it. It had a surprising twist for me at the end. I just thought it was going to be like, it didn't end the way, I'll just say it didn't end the way I thought it would. It's a funny movie, and it's fun. I enjoyed it. From what I'm reading, I finished reading Devil in the White City, and I gave it 4 stars. I was tempted to almost give it 3, except I was really, really interested in the part about H.H. Holmes, who they coined the first serial killer in America, but he's not the first one. There were many other serial killers. And it was interesting. This book kind of made me wonder about the truth of all of this, so I went and I watched a documentary on him on Netflix, and I also listened to some episodes of Generation Y. And Generation Y podcast, somebody had recommended it to me when the Stephen Avery stuff came out, and if you're interested in whether or not murderers are really murderers, or if they've been wrongly convicted or whatever, it's an interesting podcast to listen to, because they do a lot of research, and then they tell you what their results are, what they think about the person. And apparently H.H. Holmes was not as big of a serial killer as the book makes him out to be. They make it more, sensationalized. He was a killer, but that wasn't his main thing. He's really a con man. And like I said, the only reason I was going to give it 3 stars is I really didn't care for all the architectural stuff. I know it was important because they were trying to show how Chicago was changed by the fair, but I didn't find that part all that interesting, and I'd find myself blanking out because I was listening to it on tape while I was driving. I'd find myself blanking out and coming back and being like, "Oh, what were they talking about again?" It wasn't my thing, but otherwise it was a good book. And I listened to this because the lady from Milkshed is doing a read-along, and I haven't seen a podcast about it for a while, so I'm going to wait and see what she has in store for that. I probably should go on her Ravelry group and see if there's a discussion thread. And then I also finished reading Fables Volume 10, which is The Good Prince, and that was excellent. I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't a 5-star read for me. Some of the other Fables books are not, well, I guess you call them graphic novels, are better than others. It was pretty good. I really liked the story, but it wasn't as enthralling to me as some of the other ones. I guess because there was a lot of war in this one. And strategizing. It was good. I enjoyed it. It still had a lot of, it still pulled me in. And then I just started reading Dreamcatcher by Stephen King. Well, I should say reading, but really, I'm listening in the car, so I don't know how good that is yet. I just started listening to it. And I am still listening to The Count of Monte Cristo, and it's surprising me. It's taking all these twists I just didn't expect. I'm glad I stuck it out through the prison part. I thought he was going to be stuck in prison for the rest of the book, and I was kind of about to like stop listening, but he got out of prison, and now it's getting very interesting because he's going back and talking to people from his past, and it's very interesting. I'm enjoying it. I think that's all that I wanted to cover today. So if you're coming to Houston Fiber Fest, come say hello, and I look forward to talking to you guys in a few weeks. I haven't decided on the prizes for the Knit Die Spin yet, so maybe I'll get something at Houston Fiber Fest for y'all. Anyway, I think, like I said, I think that's it, and get busy knitting or get busy dyeing.